If you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, you've got a side hustle, you know where most of our clients and customers come from. They come in through social media. But how do we do that kind of writing to make sure we're not sort of wasting time trying to do marketing, but actually create posts that bring in action and get people excited? I'm Erin Lebax. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 pro tips for writing for social media. I've been a writing teacher most of my life, and I use social media to promote my own small business, so I understand a lot of the struggles about how to do this kind of writing, and it doesn't always feel natural at first. But these 5 tips can get you from writing posts that you might feel kind of okay about to posts that are really converting, bringing in clients, making things happen. All right, so let's get started. Number 5, use the 50-30-20 rule. This tip is about what to write. Some of our other tips will be about how to write them. So content-wise, what should we post about? I like following this rule where about half of my posts will be things that I've created. Maybe it's an image, a diagram, a chart. Maybe it's a description. Maybe it's a list. Things coming from me about how to write well. And you do that with your own content. Whatever you're writing about 50% of your posts can be your own creation, right? Then 30% is other people's, but we're showing that we are part of the conversation and that we're listening to what experts in our field have to say by reposting, sharing things from others who work in our same industry or area. That leaves only 20% for promotional info. Now, I used to do this kind of backwards, where I would say, here's a post about my new book, here's a post about my new video, here's another post kind of about me. Well, no, I needed to invert that, make sure that I'm mostly providing content that just helps a person learn and grow, and then 20% of the time, I get to talk about me. So let's look at a before and after. Here's what I would advise. This one, we'll look at a calendar. Maybe you're thinking, all right, this week I need to do my social media posts. What should they be about? I used to do it like this: an ad for my new service, an ad for a new template, or a new recipe, or whatever you sell, right? Then, oh, here's an article I found interesting, and here are some tips I can share. This was my approach before. I was focused a lot on talking about my products all the time. That's not really what gets us followers. People want that authentic, engaging content that helps them. So to flip things, here's how I would suggest pursuing your social media calendar. Start with those expert tips. Start with content you can provide, articles, stories, images that relate to the tips. A couple pictures of meals, if you're talking about recipes, for example. And then that week, one promotional post, right? And we're following more of a 50-30-20 by doing that. All right, tip 2 is more about how to say it versus what to say. I would recommend, you're gonna have verbs in your writing anyway, those action words of what to do. Use positive ones, constructive, productive verbs that make your reader subconsciously feel like things are getting done and we're moving forward. For example, things like get fit with the app, create amazing meals with these recipes. These verbs sound like things are happening. Let's look at a before and after of not using positive verbs versus using them. Maybe I'm posting on Instagram and it's about health. It doesn't have to be so hard to get in shape and stop feeling bad about yourself. Yeah, we do worry. Oh, I don't want to feel bad about myself. Oh, I want to get in shape, right? But this is a pretty negative, uninspiring way to talk about it, not necessarily going to subconsciously attract people to follow what you have to offer. So I would suggest turning it around, saying the same thing, but in a positive way. Get in shape with these tools and celebrate body positivity. So our productive verbs there were get in shape, and celebrate. Subconsciously, these verbs set a tone for people, and it feels like things are happening in a positive light. I want to be a part of that, right? All right, third one, also about how to say it. It matters how we structure our sentences. There's a lot of science about this, that the brain has trouble with longer, wandering sentences, and especially with passive sentences, right? You know, when we're scrolling through social media, we're usually going fairly quickly. So we need sentences that grab attention and attract interest. And to do that, use active voice and keep your sentences brief. If you're not sure what active voice is, Don't worry about getting into a grammar lesson. Really, what you can do is just lead with who and what. Who did something? What did they do? Here's a link for a 3-minute video that reviews that real quick. But that's what we need to do, right? Just start with who's doing something. You can apply online or in person. All coaching sessions include X and Y. I did not delay information in the way that I will in this coming example. All right, a before, something we do not want to do. Let's say I'm a life coach, Mr. Life Coach Fred, in fact. I would not suggest writing this way, and I don't think I'll even read the whole thing because it's a little tiresome. You can tell by looking at it. It is so important too. That's the kind of thing that turns off a reader. Readers, especially on social media, do not want a description or a lecture. They want to be spoken directly to them and have short sentences where things are getting done. What I've written here on the top is a description about why coaching is a great thing to do. If you're a coach, it might be tempting to write that as your post, but it's just not active. It's not that reader-centered either. It's more me describing why I think this matters. Here's what I would do to use short, active voice sentences that lead with who and what, and you'll notice it speaks directly to the reader a little bit more too, which we're going to talk about that more in a moment. You can take charge of your future, set goals, and reflect on your growth by working with a life coach. Life coaches support you. These are all that who, what structure. Right away, very beginning of the sentence, we get information. Do not delay information for your reader. Do not make them wait through an it is important to. There are many ways to. I am going to tell you that. Get right to the action and use that who, what structure. All right, number 2, your voice. Are you talking directly to your reader? Or are you accidentally using a voice that sounds kind of generic or maybe even bureaucratic? This is easy to do because when we want to sound professional, we start kind of imitating other voices we've heard. But your followers want to hear from you, right? This has been hard for me. As a teacher, I've always thought I just want to focus on the content. But the truth is, I could just sound like any generic teacher if I did that. I do need to bring in some of my personality, bring in some authenticity. Couple examples, depending on your content, right? Instead of saying like, it is hard, we could write, stop banging your head against the wall, if that fits with your consistent voice. Or if you're like me, you've made this mistake, right? Bringing yourself in a little, adding that authenticity so the viewers, the readers, the followers are thinking, oh, there's a real live human here. I want to connect with them, follow what they're doing and get involved. Let's look at a before and after. Not very personal or authentic here, right? This first example makes everything sound far away. Experts agree nutrition matters. How you eat determines how you feel. It can also impact your appearance and body image. Sounds a little bit far away, like you're giving me a generic lecture, right? Here's what I would suggest doing instead. Speak directly to your reader in a more conversational tone, a voice that is authentic to you and the other posts you've done. Feel and look your best with these easy nutrition hacks. Food for humans is like gas for cars. Get the good stuff. Now I'm conversing directly with you instead of describing something and just kind of stating about research, right? All right, down to our final one. This is a biggie. This has been the number one change I've made that's helped me with my social media writing. Flipping the script. Try to resist accidentally starting with what matters to you and lead with what matters to them. I used to get into a social media situation and just talk all about me. Here's what I'm doing. Here's a new product. Here's what we have this year. Don't you want to hear all about me? Well, probably not. You know, people want to think about their own selves and their own lives. So how can we write in a way that begins with what matters to the reader instead of what matters to us? A couple examples, maybe we think money is on people's minds, time is on their minds. Without breaking the bank, you can set and meet goals by working with a coach or save time on weeknights using these easy recipes. So you can see how I'm reaching right out to the reader, trying to think about what might matter to them most. I'm not starting with, I offer XYZ. Let's look at a before and after. that kind of does it the way I used to, that doesn't work so well. We have 3 new workouts that build strength in 30 minutes. Good for you, somebody might be thinking, right? I did a seminar on this and somebody shared that they were the marketing head for their company and that they had recently done a webinar where they accidentally, looking back, started by describing all the products they have in the webinar. And then the audience was kind of sitting there passively. And it wasn't until later that they started to speak to what the audience was there for. Well, flip the script. Get that out there first. Want to build strength but too busy for long workouts? Oh yeah, actually, that's true, right? Now I'm speaking to the reader's experience, always starting with what matters to them, what is front of mind for your reader. All right, so quick review and try applying these and see if you get more traction on your posts. Use that 50-30-20 rule about the content. How much do you create your own content versus promote or share other content? Then your writing style, positive, productive verbs, short, active sentences, your own voice. And then for ordering, flip the script. Always start with what you feel is going to matter to your reader, what they're already thinking about when they go online looking for a service like yours. All right, let me know how these ideas go for you, and also if you have other tips that have helped you in your social media writing. I'd love to hear them in the comments. We can all help other entrepreneurs and small businesses grow. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you soon.